Now here, the showing diagram is the simple, the memory internal architecture diagram, I can say. The x-axis here, I'm having this x. Here it is nothing but address input, or sometimes we may call as word lines. I can call it as word lines sometimes. So normally, if you want to design a memory, how we can design a memory? The memory will be designed as like this. The memory will be like word lines, that is address lines cross data lines. Right. This is nothing but your memory. Normally, the memory will be defined as in this name only. So now here, how it will be in the sense how we can show the size of the address lines. The address lines are nothing but, if I say my data is 8-bit data, then I require 2 to the power of 8 address lines into 8-bit data. This is nothing but, I can say how much, 256 cross 8. 256 cross 8. It is nothing but the size of the memory is what? 256 bit. This is the memory size actually. The size of the memory for 8 bit is how much? 256 bits, I can say. So now here we need to create a memory array here for SRAM and DRAM. Now we can say here to create an array, this is our nothing but, here we show this portion. This portion is completely is a memory array. This will be called as memory array. This is a memory array. So each individual inside you can see individual, it's called as a memory cell. Here only we'll have either static cell or the dynamic cell will be there. So now how it will be here, these are called as, this is will be called as row select. This will be called as column select. This is row size and column size. So I can say 256 column, then row also by 256. So simple, I can say it is here 256 cross 256 memory array. So now the decoder, as you know, like it will select at a time, it will select only one row only. You know the decoder truth table, right? So now I'll give the address. The address will be very small, 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. The corresponding decoder we have to design here. In the sense, example, if my data is 2-bit, in the sense, what is my decoder size? It is nothing but 2 to the power and like a 2 cross 2 to the power n, right? N cross 2 to the power n. That is the decoder size normally. So n is 2 in the sense, then I can say the output will be 2 to the power 4. So I'll get here 0, 1, 2, 3. Then my size will be like this. I hope you know that, right? So 0, 1. These are the address lines. These are the address lines. Like this will be the address lines. 0, 1, 2, 3. This is my address lines. 1, 0, 1, 2, 3 in the sense. Then how it will be your decoder will be for 0, it will be 0, 0, 0, 1. Then for 0, 0, 1, 0, then 0, 1, 0, 0, then 1, 0, 0. So your decoder will be activate like this one. It will select the row like this. Right, only one row will be selected. So if it is 0, this row will be selected. If it is 1, the next will be selected. This will be 2, means the next row will be same the way even for column also. Here also it should be 0, 1, 2, 3. Then here the column also will be selected. Then it will work based on that. Now I can say row select. This will be column select. So that is why x-axis I leave X driver, decoder, then Y driver and the Y decoder. Above the Y decoder, the one more extra additional circuitry will be there. That circuitry will be like this. So the name of the circuitry is, here we'll have one more additional circuitry. Let me say here, it will be there. One circuitry will be there. This circuitry specified as sense amplifier. This will be like a sense amplifier and a comparator. Sense amplifier and comparator. Like it will sense due to while reading the data, if my data get discharges are it is very less, in the sense your sense amplifier will sense the data, it will tell whether it is 0 or 1, or logically 0 or logically 1. This sense amplifier only will decide actually. For that purpose, here in the Y column we'll have the sense amplifier circuit. It will be there. This is the nothing but your complete memory circuit. So you can design a memory for any circuitries. That is so normally your memory will be like this. Already you might have studied, right? So now this will be your memory circuit. This is the memory circuit. This is the memory, the complete memory in the sense. So as you studied, this will be your, this is your address lines. So then this will be your data line. Right, this is your data line. So now what you need, always I can say the one more thing I can say. So writing, if you want to write, that is nothing but input. Writing is input, read is output actually. Then this will be your D out. This is data in, this will be your data out. This is data in, that is the data, right? That is data in. Then this will be your address. Then this will be your write signal. Then this will be your read signal. Then this will be your D out. This is what normally your memory says. So your memory size is normally what? Actually, memory size is here I can say. What is the memory size? The memory size is 2 to the power 2 to the power n cross n actually. Right? This is nothing but your memory size. So now here what we'll do, let us go and study the memory. Now first memory, in the static RAM we are going to study pseudo static RAM. Actually first we can look into this figure, pseudo static memory here. Which is the memory portion here we need to know. The memory portion is here. This is the memory cell. This only is nothing but the memory cell actually. This is the memory cell actually. So now this is, I can say, how many transistors are required. If you consider this is a NMOS, it's completely NMOS, right? If you consider this is a NMOS, so NMOS inverter, here also one more NMOS inverter, totally 2 plus 2, 4. So initially, as I said, I hope you remember. So you have, if you want to design the static RAM, at least you need 4 transistors. So this is the 4 transistor cell actually I can say. Next, we are having externally here 2 pass transistors are there here. You can see these 2 transistor, pass transistor. These 2 pass transistors are connected with the word lines. This is the word lines which has nothing but the address lines I can say, or otherwise I can say this is bit line, or this will be your bit bar line I can say. This is a bit, this will be your complement, that is bit bar line. Next you can say this is nothing but your bus. There is a bus here, the bus will carry the data line, in the sense this bus only will carry the input output data. Now you have to be clear, this bus will carry the input data and the output data, I said the IO actually. Now you need to know when it will carry the input, when we will get the output. Like say example, when you are going to perform, or the bit lines, or I can say not these bit lines, this lines, data lines, right? So this lines will be act as a input. This will be act as an input when you are writing, when your write signal is high. When you are going to read the data, then the same bus, this line, data line will be become as a output signal, output line actually. So that is why the same bus only will be given for input, output also. That is depends on the operation we are performing. Additionally, we are having the additional one more transistor, the transistor T3. This is the transistor here we're using. This is for to refresh the feedback path. Now you see here back to back two inverters are connected here. The one of the inverter, the output is connected to the next inverter input. Then the second inverter output is connected to the first inverter input. This is the feedback path, right? So this will be act as a memory cell. The data will be hold here only. The data will be hold. So now let us see first the writing operation. So always here, as I said in previously, we are going to use two-phase non-overlapping clock. So here, normally, when we are going to write the data or read the data, that will be coincident with this 5-1 signal. So that is why we use the 5-1 signal along with the write signal. Now I'll say here, this is the first transistor, will make write signal as high. If the write signal is high in the sense, and the read signal should be low. So what will happen? The write signal is high. This is the signal, right? This signal is high in the sense. So now what will happen? So this will be on. If this is on, normally this by the data line, it is already pre-charged. So if it is pre-charged, you have to think here the value is 1 actually. You think, okay, it is pre-charged by VDD, then this will be value is 1. If this is 1, then what will happen? That is why this is specified. So when the write signal and the 5-1 is equal to 1, this transistor, the T1 will be on and the T2 will be off. Then the bit stored on CG, that is nothing but this inverter will have the gate capacitance here, correct? Here that will be a gate capacitance. So again, just internally gate capacitance means like this, I can say. Internally you see, okay. So gate capacitance of inverter 1 will be reproduced the complementary of 0 here, complementary output. Then again the inverter 1 and the true at the output of inverter 2. So example here if it is 0, then here I will get as 1. Now we'll see this is the value as 1 over there. This 1 will come over till here, correct? But here this will not be passed once again. The value of 1 is holded in the memory cell. Now what I did, so writing operation, during the writing, so your bus, the data line is pre-charged already. The value is written onto the memory cell. That is why here we see, it will be seen that during 5-2 signal, say example here, see here. Now this is for 5-1. During the 5-1 is high, your 5-2 will be low normally, correct? As an example, this will be like this. Your clock signal will be like this. This is your 5-1 signal. Then this will be your 5-2 signal. When 5-1 signal is high, then 5-2 signal will be low. When 5-1 signal is equal to low, 5-2 will be high. As we know that already, once again I'll recap for you. 5-1 dot 5-2 bar is equal to 0, two-phase non-overlapping. This is what you are following. So now here in this two inverter is the no. So here from this I can take the output as output here. You can assume as per the standard, if you want to say, you think about like what is this name means. Let me keep as name as Q. Example. If this is my Q, the same will be, this is will be Q, right? This is your Q in the sense, then this will be what? This will be what? This will be Q bar, correct? The previous output. So we will get both the outputs, the Q and the Q bar will get. So this is a simple D flip flop. Also, I can say actually, pseudo static RAM actually. So now it will be seen that during every 5-2, like when the 5-2 goes high, so every 5-2 of the clock, the stored bit, which one already the bit was stored as 1, that will be refreshed through the gated feed path from the output of the inverter. So when this goes 1, 5-2 goes 1. Now example, okay. After that, what will happen? This will be on. Then again, this will go over the data will be there in the signal only. Now, what we need to do, we need to perform the read operation. If you want to perform a read operation, what I need to do? So now perform the reading operation. So you have to make this will be 0, right? Write signal will be equal to 0, then read signal will be equal to 1. Then T2 will be on, then T1 is off. Now what you need to do, if you want to read the means already the data is stored in the memory, this should be read in the bus line here, because this only data line will be act as now output, right? So now how it can be 1? So here already value 1 is there, so that will be read via this bit line, via this line. Okay, it will be read output as read. That is why the stored bit will be read onto the bus. This is what the operation of pseudo-static RAM. Now here the corresponding stick diagram, but here before seeing that stick diagram, you see that this is what I said, right? That two inverter back to back connected, the memory cell. This is only. This is the memory cell. Two inverter is connected back to back. This is the memory cell. So that is diagram only, the previous diagram only, just we read wrong. You think in that way only. So here there will be a VDD, then there is a VSS over there. So here this VDD will carry one bus, you can say bus A. Then ground is one bus, that is bus B, I can say. Why? Because here the bus is to pre-charge, this will be for pre-discharge actually. Then here we are having the two pass transistor. This two pass transistor will be used for to give the signal, the control, that is write signal, read signal for the purpose. Then here this will be your bit lines. See, this is the bit lines actually. So this bit lines normally I can say this bit lines only will act as a input or output here. You see this from based on this. If you are writing, then this will be as input. If you are reading, this will become as output. So both the sides here bit line is 1 in the sense, then bit line bar will be 0. So at a time I will get both the Q and the Q bar, because naturally the flip flop, as I said initially, the static mask or static RAM will be consist of the 4 or 6 transistors in the form of flip flops, I said, right? So the basic flip flop here is in the D flip flop. Now normally the D flip flop will have the output as Q and the Q bar. So that is why I'm saying the data as in the bit line as well as the bit line bar. Now the corresponding stick diagram is this here. See this corresponding stick diagram, same the way the VDD line is there. Then VSS line, VDD line is there. This is the ground, VSS line is there. Then bus, here one bus is there. If you want two bus also, only one bus here. Then one more bus also get drawn over there. See here, the corresponding transistor, 8:1, 4:1, two inverters. This is the one inverter. This is another inverter. So both are connected back to back. The first inverter output is connected to input of the second inverter. The second inverter output is connected to second inverter output is connected to first inverter input through one pass transistor. That is the refreshment. That is phi 2 is connected, right? This second bus actually, if it is needed, second bus if needed, we can go for second bus actually. So right signal, this is the read signal. So like this, we need to draw the stick diagram also. Now that is the NMOS version. Now we have to go for the CMOS version. What you will do for CMOS version? Just replace the pass transistor by CMOS, that is transmission gate. This is instead of NMOS inverter, change it to CMOS inverter. This is also CMOS inverter. Now totally we can see here how many transistors are required previously. If it is a NMOS in the sense, how many transistors? So 1 plus 1, 2, totally 3 pass transistors plus 2 inverters, totally 3 plus 4, 7 transistors are required. But when I go for the CMOS pseudostatic memory cell, how many are required? 2 plus 2 plus 2, totally 6, 6 plus 4, 10. Totally 10 transistors are required to store 1 bit. Okay, to store only 1 bit, 10 transistors are required in the static RAM actually for CMOS version. You can see this is the corresponding stick diagram. As you know how to draw the stick diagram, just to replace everything by the stick diagram properly, then easily you can draw the stick diagram. Now, so the important notes related to pseudostatic RAM. The first important note will be your read and write signal must be mutually exclusive. Means both should not be equal, both should not be 1. Sometimes if both are 0, what I'll get actually, if both are 0, the whatever the data which is stored already in the memory cell, that will be hold. Correct? But both cannot be 1. So now, but both are coincident with phi 1 actually. Now, as you know, the phi 2 is used for refreshment actually. The phi 2 is used for refresh, then the cell must not be read during phi 2. That is very, very important. During refresh, you should not read the data during phi 2 actually. You should not read of the clock unless the feedback path is inhibited during RD. If you try to do that, like say example, phi 2 also is equal to 1, you are performing the refreshing. The meanwhile time you are reading the data also, what will happen at that time? There will be effect. The effect is called as charge sharing effect between the bus and the input. So due to that, what will happen? Your stored will get distract. So that we should not do. Then your cells must be stackable in the sense like we need to arrange the cell in stack like both side by side. In the sense side by side, this is the one cell, this is the another cell, this is the another one more cell, this is the one more cell, this is the column, correct? Now this will be your row. So now what happened? This will become as an array. So here I can keep the cells, 1 cell, 2 cell, 3 cell, 4 cell. These all are memory cells. If you keep like this in the array, then it will be very easy for layout actually. So you should create as a memory cells are in a array actually. So now allow for other bus lines to run through the cells so that the register and memory arrays are readily configured. So we have to your buses will run like this. So here normally the buses will run in this palm, only one bus will run in the top, the palm only one bus will run actually. So that is what we have to do for ready configuration. Then what will be the occupy of area? When I use NMOS, how much the area will be occupied in the layout in the sense, totally it is like I can say 59 lambda cross 45 lambda. When you are using NMOS, then totally will be 2655 lambda square. In this, if I use only single bus architecture, then this will be 1550 lambda square. But as you know, if I use a single bus, what is the problem we may face? Like as I said, so each and every clock cycle, only one operation can be done. But if you go for 2 bus, then at a time I can feed 2 inputs simultaneously, correct? Means if I do single bus in the sense, first I have to do write the data, then I can read the data. But if I use 2 buses in the sense, I can read as well as write the signal also. Like just to keep on writing the data on the memory location, reading the data from some other location. From the same memory location, you cannot write and read at a time. That cannot be possible. Then 10 transistors are required to store 1 bit. This is what earlier I said. Totally. That is for which version? This is a CMOS version. In the CMOS version, 10 transistors are required. See, this is the layout of NMOS actually. Earlier said no, this is a NMOS pseudostatic memory with read to either of 2 buses. This is the bus B, this is the bus A. See, because the buses are which layer actually? The buses are metal layer. You can see this. These are our metal actually. Buses layer are metal layers. Normally bus will be metal. So here which contact are used for NMOS? We can say, can you see which contact? This is the which contact? This contact is, it's a buried contact actually. It's a buried contact. There is not butting contact. Okay. Now here we have to find out same like 3 parameters. The first parameter, area. The typical area of NMOS single cell with the single bus in the region. Earlier only I said how much it is, 1750 lambda square. So therefore, if I consider 5 micrometer technology, if I consider 5 micrometer technology in the sense your length of the polysilicon, length of the channel is 5 micrometer, then 1 lambda is 2.5 micrometer. Substitute lambda value as 2.5 micrometer, 2.5 micrometer, then I'll get the area per bit. To store 1 bit, the area would take how much? 10,000 micrometer square it will take actually. So now For to store one bit only 10,000 micrometer square in the sense area of it is taking, then if I consider here the chip as 4 millimeter cross 4 millimeter chip, if I'm having, then how much the bit I can store? The maximum number of bit can be stored in a 4 millimeter cross 4 millimeter chip is approximately 1.4 K bits. That is 1.4 kilobits I can store for NMOS. Next, power dissipation. Now, the NMOS cell, we are using two inverters actually. The two inverters are both are not a equal ratio. The first inverter has 8:1. The second inverter has with the 4:1 ratio. Now, here the power dissipation will be dependent on the current drawn actually. Normally, as you know, the current dissipation will be based on the current drawn on the actual geometry of the inverters. But let us assume that the inverters are based on the minimum feature size gate. Minimum feature size gate in the sense I can say 2 lambda cross 2 lambda. That is the minimum feature gate size I can say. Right. So get us two areas are so that the 8:1 stage will present here the resistance of 90 kilo ohm. This is for standard actually. If I use minimum transistor size, if I use, then for 8:1 stage, the resistance will be 90 kilo ohm. For 4:1 stage, it will be 50 kilo ohm. This already we derived between the supply rails actually. Now, when one stage is off, because we are having two stages. If I am having the two stages, because as you see in your memory, we are having two stages. This is the one stage. This is the another stage. Then this stage is nothing but 8:1. This stage is 4:1. Now, when this stage is conducting, this stage will not conduct. When this stage is conducting, this stages will not conduct. So only after time only it will conduct completely T. If I say this is my complete time, if I say complete T in the sense, this full time is T in the sense, at a time only, after time only it will work. After time only, right? So now when stage is off, the another one is on say that each spends off time in the conducting state. So here the off time will be conducting state. Here also it will spend off time for conducting state. Now what will be the average current of this two actually? The average current I average is equal to, average is nothing but two inverters are there, right? It's nothing but 1/2, correct? So that is why point. So it is nothing but 1/2 into VDD divided by what is the resistance? That is nothing but 8:1. That is resistance I can say R. The R resistance, that is RS I can say resistance will be 90 kilo ohm. That is what this 5 volt by 90 plus 5 volt, that is VDD divided by what is the resistance of second stage? The resistance is 50 kilo ohm. That is RS. So totally I will get as 80 microampere. Now therefore I can say that dissipation, that therefore the dissipation per bit stored, to store one bit, how much the dissipation will be there now? The power dissipation will be calculated as you know the formula, P is equal to VI. Correct. So it's nothing but here the V is nothing but VDD, B is nothing but VDD, then the I is nothing but I average. I average. So VDD 5 volt, then I average is 80 microampere. So totally I will get as 400 microwatts. So now I can say to store one bit, the dissipation is 400 microwatts. So for one bit it's this much microwatts in the sense, then when I'm going for 1.4 kilobits, then how much power dissipation will be there for that single IC, which is the area of 4 millimeter plus 4 millimeter. So it required how much it will dissipate? It dissipates 560 milliwatts. It will dissipate. Now, which kind of dissipation is this actually? It is a static power dissipation. It is not a, but as you know, what is a static power dissipation? Static power dissipation is there is a direct current flow from VDD to VSS. That is what we are calculating, how much it is. That is what this VDD to VSS actually. So now the volatility is the cell is a non-volatile. So provided that phi 2 signals are present. Okay, so it is a non-volatile memory. Next, let us study about 4 transistor dynamic and 6 transistor static CMOS memory cell. So some we may call as 4T DRAM and 6T SRAM. That is CMOS based. Now the most of the previous memory cells are involved NMOS actually, and can therefore be implemented in either NMOS or a CMOS design also that we studied. Now both the dynamic and the static elements uses 2 bus per bit arrangement actually, 2 buses per bit arrangement, so that it's associated with every bit stored. There will be a bit and a bit bar line will be there. There will be a bit and a bit bar line. So because you are storing the 2 bus per bit actually. Okay. So each and every bus will have the bits as bit and the bit bar. Now in both the cases, the buses are pre-charged to logic 1 before read and write operation. This is what very important here. Normally, in both the cases, the buses are pre-charged to logic 1 by VDD before read or write operation takes place. This is what we have to do normally. Then now we show that figure. That figure will have 4 transistor dynamic cell. That is what we are going to study. That is 4 transistor cell for storing 1 bit. That is dynamic. In that each bit will be stored on a gate capacitance. Each bit will be stored on a gate capacitance of 2 N-type transistor, T1 and T2. That is T1 and T2 in the sense. Let me show the diagram. See here. This is the diagram here. This is a complete diagram. This is the continuity of this. That is why I specified here. That is 1, 2. You see that's 1, 2. That is nothing but it's a continuity. The continuity of this. Okay. Or let me draw that. It will be like this. Okay. The 1 is connected to here. This 2 is connected to here. Okay, now we can see this portion. Which portion? This portion. Now here, this complete is here. Which one? This complete. This complete is nothing but your 4T DRAM. This is actually 4T DRAM. This one. Now, if I see this one complete. This complete is nothing but your. This is your 6T SRAM actually. This one. That is 6 transistor. You may think where is 6 and where is 4 and all, right? Now this will be the complete portion will be a which portion? This portion. This complete portion will be a sense amplified. Okay. Now here, which is our in this, which is our memory cell. The memory cell is this. See. This is the memory cell actually. This is the memory cell. Here, which is the memory cell here? The memory cell is actually the memory cell is this. Previously only we studied. This is the memory cell actually. But entirely we have to consider. Okay. Now we can see here. First, let us see here. Totally here we are showing the transistors are T1, T2, T3, T4, and here we are showing. First, you let us see the external transistor in all the ways, right? You can see these lines are row select. You can remember the previous beginning diagram. Yes, these are all row select. Then this y-axis. This is y-axis. No, see, this is column select. You see, column select. This is the column select. The row select will select the row cell. The column select will tell which column cell will be active. Now next you can see externally these are the column cells are connected with the two. The one is called as the bit and the bit bar. You see this bit and bit bar. Bit is nothing but say example bit and bit bar. This will have this completely this line 1 and 2. You see this 1 and 2, this 1 and 2. Here you see the one cell, this complete one cell is connected here. You see this, the transistor of this. See the transistor both are back to back connected. That tool is connected to column decoder. The column decoder at a time, what it will be activate only one value. So if it is 1 means this transistor will be on. If this is on, in the sense what will happen? The input output bus, right? As like a input output bus, this is input output bus bar. So I can say the input output bus will be connected to bit, then input output bus bar connected to bit bar. That is what this column select. Now you can see the another transistor here, the PMOS. You can see the externally here the one PMOS, here one PMOS. This is normally to pre-charge this row select actually. To pre-charge the row select. For that purpose only we are using pre-charging the row select as well as the column select also. So here you can see for row select it's coincident with the phi 2. This pre-charge bar it's coincident with the phi 1. This is row select will be phi 2 coincident with the phi 2. This pre-charge will be coincident with phi 1. Now you can see here in this transistor, here I specified this is Q bar, this is like Q I said, even same, even this is Q, this is Q bar I said in this space actually. Okay, so now how it is working. First let us see the operation of how the data will be written and how the data will be right. You should see here individually the operation. You can see like this is DRAM, this is SRAM, correct? So if I consider only DRAM, below this you think this sense amplifier is connected. If I say SRAM, this SRAM below that this sense amplifier is connected. You think in that way normally. Okay, so now what you have to do in the sense, this sense amplifier, the logic here which is shown here, this is called as, it's a differential inverter. This is the differential inverter. This is the differential inverter. Which one? This one. This one is a differential inverter. Already which is studied, it will give the output as the differential output it will give. It will give the differential output. So this is the differential inverter. This is differential inverter. It will provide the both output, that is nothing but what? Q and a Q bar, or V out and a V out bar. Anything you can say. V out and a V out bar. So it will give both. Now let us see the operation of this first. So how the operation will be working here, first you can see. So normally your this the bit lines are okay. So here there is no dot. You can see there is no dot, there is no dot. So both are like this lines. Very, very important. You should know that. Okay. So these are not connected actually. Bit line separately here from this. So you are getting okay. This is bit line. Yes. So now let us see what is the operation. First, let us see the operation, the writing of, or I can say the write operation. The write operation first. See that the writing operation, the bit and bit bar buses are pre-charged to VDD. That is so VDD via PMOS. This only. The bit and the bit bar are pre-charged because this is a pre-charge, right? If this is 1 in the sense, say example, if this is 1, if this is 1 in the sense, automatic, sorry, not 0, it is pre-charge, right? Bar actually. So bar. So 0, 0. What will happen? The PMOS will be on. This PMOS will be on. Then automatically what will happen? This is the VDD. The VDD will come over this. So this will be charged. So this will be pre-charged, even this also will be pre-charged with the VDD. So I can say the bit and the bit bars are pre-charged by VDD through with the help of the transistor PMOS transistor, that is T5 and T6. Next, what I can say, the column select. So that is here I can say the column select, that is in the sense amplifier is activated. And either the bit and bit bar line is discharged by logic level present on the input output bus lines. That is, IO lines will be acting as a current sink when carrying a 0. Now what will happen here? You have to think your column select is activated, means column select is activated, means this only. The column select is equal to 1 selected. So what will happen if this is 1 in the sense, then this transistor will be on, then this transistor will be on. If both are on in the sense, automatically what will happen? Your sense amplifier, this will actually get activated. Why? Because the IO bar, say example, the IO bus value is 1, then IO bar value bus is 0 if I say. So this value will go over there. This is complete 1, right? See, this completely your bit line is 1 only. Then your complete the bit line bar is value is 0 only. Okay, now this is 1, now this is 0. If this is 1 in the sense, we can say this transistor will be off, then this will be on, correct? Next, what will happen? By the same time, what will happen? This is 0. This 0 in the sense, this will be on, correct? Sorry, yes, this will be off. So what will happen when I give 1? This will give you the output as what? This will give you the output as 0. Then when this is input is 1, this will give the output as 1. Correct? So what will happen? It like this, it will keep on, it will work. That is what you can say, your bit line value will get changed. See here, that is what they specified. What they specified. So the what they specify, column size activate either bit or bit bar line is discharged by logic level present at the IO bus lines. So it will be discharged actually through this portion, right? So if this, when it will be discharged actually, when it will get discharged, when sense is equal to 1, example, it's like sensing. When sense is equal to 1, even this transistor will be on, then it will get discharged actually, right? So now, can say, so input outputs line when acting as current sink when carrying the value 0 actually. So where it is carrying a 0, so this one is carrying a 0 actually. Or if this is carrying, if any one of the lines carrying value 0, then this will act as current sink actually. Next, row select signal. So now first column select signal will be activated. Now the row select signal is activated at the same time the column select also activated. Now here if it is one activated is done in the sense, meanwhile time even this also will be activated, means it is coincident with the row select. Now the row select also is equal to 1. The row select also is equal to 1 in the sense what will happen. So now you can see this will be on, then this will be on. If this is on in the sense, now we can see this is on, this transistor on. Now already I know the bit line is equal to here 1, example, correct? This is 1 because you see the bit line is 1 only. This is 1, this will go to over there, this 1 will come over there. This is the gate capacitance of C2, this is the 1, right? If this is 1, even this will be on. If it is on, what is the value of this actually? The value of this is nothing but your, this is 1, even this also is 1 in the sense. What is the value here? I'm getting 0 actually. This 0 will be passed over like this portion, then again it will go, this will become as 0. Now 0 means this transistor will not be on, this is off only. Now automatically I can say what? The data is stored in here, correct? The value is stored in the sense, in the form of charge, the value 1 is stored. So that is why here you can see this, the row select signal activated at the same time as column select when both are activated and the bit line states are written. So the data are written now. That is why it's via T3 and T4, which is T3 and T4. This is T3 and T4 and T1, T2. stored by T1 and T2 as charges. Here the 1 is stored, here the 0 is stored because the 0 will be stored in the sense normally the pre-charge capacitance. This is the capacitance, right? CG1 is see. Here 0 will be there, here 1 will be there. So it will be stored on a gate capacitance. The CG1 carries 0, the CG2 carries 1. That is the form of charges on the gate capacitance. So that is what I can say. We done the return. So by this time, this bits are this bit and the bit bar both are acting as input. Actually, you have to think it is the input actually. Now what we'll do if the T1 and T2 are interconnected, will force them to complement the state while row select line is high. That is like your T1 T2 transistor. This T1 T2 transistors are interconnected, will force them to the complementary state due to what? Due to the row select line is high. Due to this row selection line is equal to high, what will happen? This is interconnected. Both are interconnected means here 1 means here it will be 0. Here when 1 means here it will be 0. Say example, here I given as 1, correct? Instead of 1, if it is 0, what will happen? Again, the completely my bit, this will become as 0, then this will become as 1. Automatically I get here 0 will be there, here 1 will be there. That is what will happen. Now, once the select lines are deactivated, see that which select lines are? Select lines means your row and the column. Both are deactivated means then the bit stored will be remembered. So that is the value will be hold, it will be remembered until the gate capacitance loses enough charge to drop the on gate voltage below the threshold level for T1 and T2. Means when row select becomes 0, example, or column select become 0, or row select only assume. When the row select become 0, what will happen? If it is quite long time, both are is equal to 0, then automatically what will happen? Previously, the charges stored here, T2 1 was there, here 0 was there. So here nothing, no problem. But in the T2 transistor, you can see slowly what will happen? This charge will get start to discharge slowly. Due to what? There will be a charge leakage will be there, correct? So slowly when it is discharges, what will happen? When it is goes less than the threshold voltage, that is what we can say, drop to on gate voltage below the threshold voltage. By this time when it is 1, this transistor will be on only. But what will happen when this get drop, like say example, when it gets dropped in the sense, when it is goes I can assume as my VDD is equal to 5 volt. We are charging to 5 volt, right? VDD is equal to 5 volt in the sense. And what is my threshold voltage? My threshold voltage is nothing but 0.2 times of VDD. Then that will be 1 volt. Now, if I'm having a less than 1 volt, if I have, what will happen? This on state will become as off state. If this becomes as a off state, automatically what will happen here? It becomes an off state in the sense, then the transistor is not conducting, then here it values 1, then here it will be 1 here, right? This is what the 1 in the sense, then this will be off state. So that is the problem here. T1 and T2. So now this is about the write operation. Now we'll go for the read operation, the very important, the read operation. Always while writing operation, your sensing amplifier is that much is not required, because the sensing amplifier is required only during read operation, not during write operation. Because here while reading the data, say example, you need to read the data after writing. If as long as if there is a much delay, more delay if it is there, what happened here? There is a leakage, charge leakage problem is there. Automatically what will happen? The two capacitors are connected, like example, as we studied in the previously, in the one transistor dynamic, we studied in that. What happened? There is a difference of voltage between two capacitors will be there. So what will happen? Your output capacitors will go down. Instead of a complete fully value, it will go down the value. So automatically what will happen? Your sense amplifier will sense that, then it will give to your signal as like the value is high or low. That is what your sense amplifier will do. It will sense the value, it will compare with your difference voltage, then it will give the value. Now here you can see in this writing operation, this is the, sorry, reading operation. Sorry. Now the read operation also same like this only. First, if you are performing the read operation, what you have to do? You have to assume as the bit and bit bar buses are pre-charged. Same the way. Bit and bit bars buses are pre-charged to VDD via the PMOS T5 and T6. So that both lines will be at logic line 1. That is nothing but the same first like right read operation. Now, if say 1 has been stored. Now example, if the 1 is stored means the T2 will be on. That is very previously we seen, right? The 1 has stored means what? The T2 is on, the T1 will be off. And thus, what is the bit line actually? The bit line will be discharged to VSS through T2. That is nothing but the bit line. This is the bit line. This bit line will be, so let me explain. Yes, this bit line will be discharged. How it will be discharged? Like, say, example, the line will be like this. See, like this. So it is 1, right? It is high in the sense it will go like this, it will go like this, then it will go like this, then it will go like this, it will go like this. Now what happened? Here already we stored the values 1 fully, right? It's 1. Now automatically what will happen during that, like you keep on, it's not selected means what happened? It start to, like what will happen? It will get reduced. If it is gets reduced as automatically what will happen? So here value is 1 in the sense my bit line is only value is what? Initially, if it is logically 1 in the sense, this will discharges here actually. Correct. So this will be your bit line is nothing but what? It's we are going to consider, we are going to read the data. As you know, if you are going to read the data in the sense, we are going to access the data through bit lines only. So what happened? We are going to access from here only, like this. So now in this we can say, now we say, now if say 1 has been stored means T2 will be on, T1 will be off, and thus the bit line will be discharged to VS, that is logic 0 through T2, and the stored bit thus reappears on the bit line. Now when memory cells are used in RAM arrays, that is array, in RAM array we'll have row select and the column select. Now it is necessary to keep area of each cell to a minimum number of transistor will be a minimum size. Like the minimum number of transistor, you can follow the standard size, it is 2 lambda plus 2 lambda, and therefore the incapable of sinking large charges quickly. If you use standard gate, there will not be that much drop in the charges very quickly actually. But if it is like, say example, if I say if you used very much the large enough metal or large enough polysilicon, what will happen? There is a possibility of discharge very quickly. That is very important. Now it is important that the charges stored on a bit lines to be modest, and this may not be the case if they are directly parallel to IO line and others associated capacitors through the column selector. Now what happens, instead of using like only single read or write, if I use bit and a bit bar parallelly the IO line, say example 1 is the IO line, that is bit, IO bar is bit line. So automatically what will happen? The associated capacitance through the column select circuitry. So easily I can access the stored, that is the charges. Now here we can say the RAM arrays are generally employ some form of some sense amplifier. That is the concept here. The sense amplifier is a possible arrangement that has 4 transistors. We named T1, T2, T3, T4. It is a form of, actually it is a differential inverter structure actually. It will form a flip-flop circuit actually. How it is form a flip-flop circuit in the sense? So it's a differential input in the sense it can give the input, differential input, the input is equal to 0 and input is equal to 1 I will give. So what the output will get? Here I will get the output as 1, here I will get the output as 0. Correct? So it is like a Q. Then you can see the output here. What is the output I'm getting? Q is 1 means Q bar is 0. It's like the flip-flop, like this kind of flip-flop only. Now if you assume that the sense line is be inactive, means in your sense amplifier, which what? Here in your circuit, here it is inactive, means now if it is inactive means it's 0, this will not be turned on. If it is not turned on, what will happen? Based on this column select over there, I need to select the column. Now my IO bus's value something you can take, say is equal to 1 and 0. My column select is equal to 1. Then what happened? This will be on. This is right. This will be on because 1. Even this also will be on. Now both are on in the sense this carries the value as 1. Then this carries the value as 0. Now this is the input, right? So now this one will be the input for this. Now this transistor will be on. Now automatically this 0 will go over there. This will be on. Now what I'll get? The input is equal to 1. For this inverter is 1. The output will be 0 actually here. Now for this inverter, what is input? Sorry, for this inverter, the input is 0. Then output will be 1 here. See this. But normally what will happen in this? So here, when I give input is equal to 1. Okay. Now if there is a in the sense amplifier it is on means what will happen? Then this also will be on. Then automatically what will happen? When this is on, automatically it will try to pull down, or I can try to discharge also. So try to pull down or try to discharge the value also here. So now for that only we can say if the sense amplifier that is inactive, then the state of the bit line is reflected in the charges present on the gate capacitance of the transistor T1 and T3 there actually. So with respect to VDD such that the 1 will be turn off and the 0 turn on actually. Either any one of the transistor. Now the current flowing from VDD through on the transistor helps to maintain the state of bit line. So based on this, your bit line will be maintain the predetermine the state which will be taken up by the sense flip flop when the sense line is then activated. So now like what will happen here? We'll get so due to this VDD actually, I will get the VDD like this. Okay, so this is a VDD. So now when the sense amplifier is activated, automatically the value will be compared. What is the value is there in the IO bus and what is the value is there over there? Both will get compared. Once it's get compared, based on that, it will give the value over there. So now if I was stored the value as 1, say example here the value I stored as 1, so even here also you can see this is nothing but reverse static RAM, right? So here if a value stored as 1 in the sense, so that I should read in the right. So now automatically what will happen here, even I give it's 1 here when I should read in this only, right? So if I want to read, so from this I can read from the VDD, it will come actually. So that is what I can say in this. Now very important, the geometry of the single sense amplifier per column will be such as amplify the current sinking capability of selected memory cell. So he like each and every individual cell will have sense amplifier actually. It will be like a sense amplifier per column. It is said amplify the current sinking. As I said, amplify the current sinking means when it will be current sinking, when the bus carrying a logic 0, then it will be a current sinking that will be get amplified with the help of single sense amplifier per column. That is nothing but your 4 cell and 6. That is one of the very important question. This examination they will ask around 14 mark question. They will ask this. So be careful. So study properly this examination. Only for this diagram they'll give you 8 marks actually. Only for the diagram 8 marks will get. Another 6 marks for the explanation. Next is JK flip-flop. This already we know what is JK flip-flop. So the JK, no consideration of memory elements would be complete without the JK flip-flop. Normally memory elements will need a JK flip-flop. So the JK flip-flop is particularly widely used in the arrangement in the example of static memory element. For the static memory elements and all, which flip-flop we use? Because the flip-flop will be used only in the static memory only, right? So here the normally the JK flip-flop will be used. So it's an example for this. So it is almost useful in the other common arrangement also, such as the even D flip-flop and T flip-flops are readily formed from the JK. Once you know the JK arrangement from the JK, I can design T flip-flop, I can design D flip-flop also. How we can make it? If this is the JK in the sense, example, this is JK in the sense, this is J, this is K. How can I form this to T? From J to K, you can connect a one inverter, then I will get as, this is T actually, correct? This is T. Now, how can I get a D from JK? D from JK, it is very simple. This is from JK, I got T, correct? So this is T, complete is T. Now, how will I get a D? The Q will be connected with one inverter, then that will be connected to T. Now, this will become as D flip-flop. So, from JK to T, T to D. So, these are all possible here. That is what we can do. Already we studied at the Verilog HDL. So, now here the H-triggered circuits are conveniently designed with an ASM, that is an algorithmic state machine approach. Here, based on that, we can design the circuit. So, it will be noted that the flip-flop is assumed to have asynchronous clear we are using. The asynchronous clear in the sense, as you know, the clear input is not dependent on the clock actually. So here we use the inputs J and K with the synchronous clock actually, and J and K are read during the high level. Like when clock the rising edge, J and K are read, and the data thus read is transferred to the output of the falling edge of phi. That is nothing but the master slave flip-flop, because your memory arrangement is two stage. I hope you might remember, because our storage static will be like this only, correct? So now what I'm doing, you have to connect what to JK flip-flop. Why? Because the master will give you the inverted value only will get, correct? As an example, only the slave will go correctly. 0, 0 means I'll get as 0. When I give 0, 1, I'll get 0. 1, 0 means I'll get as 1. So I need to cascade these two. That is why the falling edge of the phi actually. So the data will be read J and K during the high level of clock phi and the falling edge of the phi. So I can say simple. So during this edge, JK value will be read. During this edge, the slave will give the output as Q. This is what your JK flip-flop actually. Now this is a simple JK flip-flop diagram. Now this is a Boolean characteristics equation. You know that how to get this expression. This is an AND gate version. This is a NOR gate version, which you studied in your logic design. This is your NAND gate version of your JK flip-flop. This is the version of NOR gate actually. This is the NOR gate version of your JK flip-flop. This both you might have studied in your logic design. So that is why I don't want to go very detailed. This next will be, this is your switch logic implementation. Switch logic implementation that is based on the JK flip-flop, like replace the logic gate with the switches, like NMOS switches. We can see here that completely we used NMOS switches here. I see this completely NMOS switches. Here also we use completely. As you know the diagram, wherever is required, I can replace the switches. The inverters will kept the same as the inverters only. So that diagram from the previous diagram, it is done over here. That is the JK flip-flop of your switch logic implementation. Then D flip-flop. So here D flip-flop as you got, right? How we got the D flip-flop from the JK flip-flop. Now in the D flip-flop here you can say this is the D. We used CMOS logic. So instead of CMOS logic, already as I explained how it will be in NMOS logic. How it will be in NMOS logic? Simple. This is your one NMOS, then we'll have the one NOT gate. You assume like this. This is the one NOT gate. Then we'll have the one more NMOS here. So this will be connected to here. This is nothing but your output Q. This will be your input D. Then here this will be a clock. This is also a clock. Now you see when when clock is equal to 1, what will happen? This will be on. If it is on, when D is equal to 1 example, then here 0, I'll get as 1. If it is 1, again, if this clock is 1 means even this clock also is equal to 1. So when it is 1 in the sense, what will happen? This one will become over the 0, 1. So till this will be the value like this only. But if you want to hold the data, so that is what I'll do. This I will make it as clock, that is 5, 1. This I will make it as 5, 2. So what will happen? When 5, 1 is equal to 1, this will be 0. So what will happen? The same data will not go. So like data will be there. When we want to hold, so what will happen? During the falling edge, this will not conduct. The data will be hold here. That is what here. We replace the NMOS by transmission gate. That's it. Transmission gate. That's all. So here, if I take the output from here, that will be Q. If I take the output from here, I'll take a Q bar output. Now here, the LD signal. What is the LD signal? The LD is nothing but load actually. Just you are loading. There is another one point. Load dot 51. That is bar. Load dot 51. This is equal to 1. LD dot 51 is equal to 1. Then this will become as 0. Automatically, what will happen? My D will get like this. I will get the D. So if I get D, what I'll get here? I'll get as D bar. I'll get here. Here I'll get as again D. So here also same. At this time, LD dot 51 is equal to 1 in the sense. Yet your 52 will be 0 actually. Correct? So now here what will happen? Your 51 and 52 should not overlap each other. So based on that, you can write. That is why here we mentioned this is nothing but your D flip flop.